Bitcoin is down right now, and here is everything you need to know about that for the week ahead. The reason I'm doing this video is that the week of Thanksgiving, which is coming up right now, is typically a harder week than usual for me to do videos. You know, there's family activities, there's a million things, travel, there's just a million different things. And I figured I would proactively try to answer every question that everyone has or is gonna have during the coming week all at one time, so that if I don't have very much time to do videos this coming week, this serves as everything you need to know about Bitcoin for the coming week. So let's start with a hypothetical Q&A. The number one question is always, well, first of all, why is Bitcoin down? Bitcoin is down because the stock market is panicking. There's fears of a global recession. People are panic selling. People are trying to keep from losing homes to foreclosure, losing businesses to bankruptcy. You know, everybody's panicking about everything right now. So, of course, that drags down Bitcoin because people sell what they can, not what they want to. And maybe they'd rather sell a vacation home instead of their Bitcoin, but you can't sell a vacation home overnight on a weekend. You can sell Bitcoin overnight on a weekend. So why is Bitcoin down? Because people are selling. Why are people selling? Because they're panicking, because their stock portfolio is taking a huge hit right now. They're scared. There's blood in the streets. You know, just people are doing their classic irrational thing that people do when they get scared and nervous, is they just sell stuff. It often doesn't make any sense what they sell, why they're selling it. It's just people do, when people get scared, they do that sort of thing. So that's what's happening. How long will people be scared and panic selling? I don't know. Could be days, could be weeks, could be months. I mean, nobody knows, because nobody knows how many fearful people there are, how much Bitcoin they have, and how likely they are to panic sell it before the price rebounds. We just don't know. We just know that Bitcoin always rebounds because of its fantastic monetary properties. It is the most durable, divisible, portable, fungible, authenticatable, and scarce thing that exists in the entire world. It has better monetary properties than anything, by far. Nothing's even close. And therefore, it outperforms in the long term anything, because it serves as money, a better money that exists anywhere in the world, and there is a demand for that. There's just absolutely, objectively a demand for that. So Bitcoin always eventually sets a new all-time high and goes on to be the best performing asset ever. There's just dips along the way because we are so early. Adoption is so early. Not much of the world owns, only about 5% of the world owns Bitcoin. The percentage of Bitcoin that 5% owns as a total of their portfolio is quite small. So Bitcoin is like a small boat on a big ocean getting, thrown around with all the waves. As Bitcoin gets bigger, it gets thrown around way less. Bitcoin is radically less volatile now than it was when I was buying in 2017. And that was radically higher volatility even than Bitcoin in 2021. As compared to Bitcoin in 2025. So everything's moving in the right direction. We are still just early to this asset class, which is good news for you, because it means there is a lot more upside than there would be if there was a lot greater adoption right now. So at some point, the sellers will stop selling and the price will go up. And what price is the lowest this thing bottoms? I don't know. James Check would probably say between 80 and 90,000. Could be as low as 75, but probably 80 to 90,000. We are already in that zone. Maybe today was the bottom. I don't know. Nobody knows. James Check, my favorite Bitcoin analyst, will probably send a Check on Chain update report tomorrow morning, and it will have much better insights into where the bottom might be than literally anything else you can get in the marketplace by far. And he's got a lot more indicators he looks at, and has been analyzing the Bitcoin market, looking for tops and bottoms for a very long time. And he will be the first to admit you can't predict how high or how low Bitcoin goes. You can just take guesses based on past historical behavior of Bitcoiners. And you can learn that from studying the history of the Bitcoin blockchain and the transactions on it. So it's a better guide than anything else, but we don't know. And according to James Check, 126,000 earlier this year, or not even earlier this year, 42 days ago. So, 6 weeks. 6 weeks ago, James Check said, this is not the top of this cycle. Well, that didn't mean it wasn't a top, because obviously it was a top, because we've come down from there. But he's like, look, none of the indicators indicate that this is the top of the cycle, meaning there's a whole lot more upside to go. It's just a matter of time. So that's all fine. He'll send an update tomorrow. everything will be fine. Everything always is fine. It's all good. Next question people are always going to ask, constantly, never stop asking, is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? The answer to that question is yes. It is never a bad time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is on sale. Should you wait to buy Bitcoin at a cheaper price than now? No. Statistically, you will always end up worse off, statistically, if you wait for a lower price or if you wait for a dip as compared to the price right now. And that is true for every price from here down to as low as the price could possibly go this cycle, no matter what that number is. If it's 75, if it's 82, if it's 86, and we hit it earlier today and that was as low as it's ever going to go, waiting for that number is always going to have worse statistical odds than just buying Bitcoin at today's price and rolling with it. It's just statistically you're likely to lose. It doesn't mean you won't get lucky. It just means statistically you are playing a losing game. Now, people win at a losing game, but most people lose at a losing game. So don't do that. Don't wait. Is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? Yes, now is a good time to buy Bitcoin. Nothing's wrong with Bitcoin. These sort of price dips are completely normal. And regardless of what the price is on any of the next 10 days, it doesn't matter. That price is the best time to buy Bitcoin right then, and waiting for a lower price is a loser's game. So if I had capital to invest right now, this second, I would buy Bitcoin right now, this second, at today's price, even if James Check says it might go down to 82, it might go down to 85, it might go down to 78. It doesn't matter what he says. The statistical probability that it doesn't, as compared to the statistical probability that it would have to in order to make sense to wait, is never in your favor to wait. It is always, the odds are always better to buy now as opposed to wait. And Bitcoin's history is a history of millions of people waiting, missing out on Bitcoin price dips that never happened, not buying Bitcoin price dips that did happen. It's just a losing game to play that game. If you have capital to invest, I would invest it right now, regardless of the price. And that will be true for the next, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, doesn't matter. Buying right now is the best time to buy, certainly in the near term. Now, again, if we suddenly run up to $220,000 in the course of a month or two, I'm going to say, hey, maybe you should dollar cost average. Maybe you should set up recurring buys. If all of the indicators from James Check are lighting up that we are, this is a Bitcoin top, this is unsustainable, there's not enough market to demand to sustain $220,000 Bitcoin in January of 2026, then I'm going to tell you should probably dollar cost average. But that's not where we are. Again, we're not going to be at an all-time high in the next 2 weeks. Could we be by the end of the year? Maybe. Should we be in Q1 of 2026? Probably. I don't know. But it's not going to be in the next 2 weeks. It's unlikely to be in the next 2 weeks, which means all we care about for the next 2 weeks is where's the bottom? Except we don't care about that because we're going to buy Bitcoin regardless of the price and not wait for bottoms. But if we're curious, just for our own intellectual curiosity, which I am, where the bottom might be and what the probabilities it might get there are, then James Check is the best resource, and he will send an update to his email list, which I am on because I pay $29 a month. It's the best investment other than Bitcoin in the Bitcoin ecosystem is the James Check $29 a month newsletter. Even if you just sign up for 1 month and then cancel it once we're through this dip, it's still worth it because it's just really, it's comforting to have a clear idea from a weatherman what the weather might do. Even if a weatherman can't predict what the weather is going to do, they can at least give you some boundary conditions of, hey, based on the weather conditions, probably not going to rain super hard tomorrow, or it's probably going to be sunny tomorrow, and at least you're not surprised and you're not suddenly caught off guard by some storm that comes out of nowhere that nobody expected. Like a weatherman, weatherwoman, a weather person can give you a pretty good idea of what the weather might be, or at least the range of possibilities. That's what James Check does. He can't promise it's going to rain tomorrow or promise it's not going to rain tomorrow in the Bitcoin market, but he can give you some decent probabilities of what might happen, and you're at least prepared, which I find comforting, to at least know what the possibilities are. And generally the range of possibilities are within what James Check says was possible, which is helpful. So anyway, let me think. What else could people possibly want to know the week of Thanksgiving? Nothing's wrong with Bitcoin. Now is a good time to buy Bitcoin. The monetary properties of Bitcoin are what drive its value. That's what Bitcoin is backed by. That's what Bitcoin is based on. Those attributes include, is it durable, divisible, portable, fungible, authenticatable, and scarce. And there's a few bonus characteristics you can throw in there depending on which chart you look at of the comparison of different monetary properties of Bitcoin versus gold versus US dollar. You know, sometimes people will throw in one or two other additional characteristics, but it's almost always going to include those 6, which is durable, divisible, portable, fungible, authenticatable, and scarce. Scarce, fungible, authenticatable, portable, durable, divisible. There you go. There's always at least those 6. So anyway, hope all that helps. I am here to serve. I will try to, you know, even the week of Thanksgiving and the week of Christmas if I can. I mean, I'll do videos if I can. It's just, there's always tons going on the week of Christmas, the week of New Year's, the week of Thanksgiving. It's always a lot harder to fit in videos those weeks than any other time. But if I can, I will. And I'll keep posting stuff that I find on Twitter or that I find, you know, that comes across my, you know, Facebook Messenger or Signal or WhatsApp or text message or email that people send me. The stuff that's worth sending on is certainly worth doing. So anyway, so I'll do what I can, and I'm here to serve. If you have any questions, you can always text me at 601-207-0813. That number again, 601-207-0813. Or the best way to reach me is always to just message me on Facebook Messenger. Literally just message me at the profile that is this video, like my actual real legit profile. Make sure you're messaging the real me from a real profile that I control, which I have this profile and then I have my professional profile. So just make sure you're messaging one of those two so you're not messaging a scammer. But message me from this profile is actually better. I get messages better on this profile than I do on my professional profile. So just click on my name at the top of this video and then message me, and I can answer any question you could possibly have. And I've almost certainly done a video about any question you could possibly have. And it takes me literally 2 seconds to respond to your message, drop in a video that answers your exact question. I love doing it. It's my favorite thing to do all day long is answer people's questions. So send them my way. I'm here to serve anything you need. And hopefully that answers all the questions you might have during the week of Thanksgiving in case I have limited ability to do additional videos. My advice is the same as always, which is buy as much Bitcoin as you can. Now is a great time, and hold on to it for as long as conceivably possible. That's the formula. The formula never changes. Good luck. I'm here to help. Thanks.